Welcome back, guys. Today's video was originally going to be the fighting game of Umineko, but there's characters and stuff popping up and saying things I didn't quite understand because I'm not far enough into this yet. So I decided to put that video on hold until I'm done with this. I didn't really plan on doing this video tonight because I wanted to play that fighting game. I've been waiting for it to play it for a while. But whatever. I got me some apple juice and whatnot. I can make a quick video tonight of this. It's been a while, a few days. Erica returned to the room that had been given to her on the second floor of the guest house. The next room over was empty. It was very quiet there. Even pressing her ear against the wall wouldn't help her listening on the voices in the cousin room. Even with hearing power boosted by the detective's authority, it would probably be impossible to make out anything. This room was the farthest down the hall, a long way from the cousin room. And the last time my room was right next to theirs, I see. So he's placed my room farther away this time. Such a modification to the initial arrangement is well covered by the authority given to the game master. It would seem to be quite a reasonable first move. Well, it's better for me that way too. Like I want to hear those brass squeaky voices as they play cards. This whole time, Erica had been fixing the desk and working on something. She's preparing some of those packet tape seals from before. She had Askuma some from the stickiest tape in place. She drew a complicated signature that could not be counterfeited across it with a permanent marker, then began making notches across it. This way, if she ever wanted to prove that someone had some opening had remained closed, she would stick this tape over it, creating a powerful seal equal in strength to the red truth. These menacing seals had cornered Hatsuhi so thoroughly in the previous game. Great. There's something wrong. He got me. That battler doesn't let anything get by him, does he? Erica grimaced to show the piece of a packet tape she had torn off to Delanar. At a glance, Delanar couldn't tell what had annoyed Erica. However, as soon as she held it, she realized the difference right away. This won't be any good. Yep. It's barely sticky at all. This won't even reach close to the red truth. Even packing tape can be of low quality and sometimes gets weaker with age. The tape Kumaso had found was a bit too weak even for normal use. It wasn't nearly sticky enough to be used as a detective seal. It is possible to tear it off cleanly. This cannot count as proof of a seal. I guess Butler isn't as totally incompetent as I thought. He probably tampered with all the packing tape on the island, using the authority of the game master. Letting Erica get her hands off packet tape gave her a fatal weapon to use against witches. The previous game had proven this fact, and so Butler had removed that weapon from the entire mansion. Most likely, all possible substitutes for packet tape had also been tampered with. Probably. Well, is it really so bad? At least this way I won't have to look like a fool crawling all over the other wall. In the cold rain, Erica tossed the packet tape aside carelessly and flopped spread-eagled onto the bed. Anyway, waiting calmly for the crime and smoking a pipe is also part of a detective's role. I doubt you'll have any role until the first twilight begins, so why not finish off somewhere and take a break? I imagine that just a side of my face is tiresome for you. I do not smoke. I am just a kid. Oh, really? I wish I could. Well, only if it really is as refreshing as smokers claim. It seems that you are not in high spirits. Does it look that way? Erica answered lazily, still looking up at the ceiling. That in itself was half an answer. The silence between the two was filled by the sound of wind and rain. It was so quiet that the sound of the ticking clock rang out clearly. Lady Erica, may I ask a question? Depends on what it is. Answer's probably no, though. Well, we're just killing time anyway. What is it? Maybe Erica was bored too, or perhaps the sound of the rain was making her sentimental. She agreed to listen to Delanar, which was very unlikely to do her. Why? Why do you hate magic? You mean that thing downstairs with Mariah? It was merely a foolish trick to deceive children. Everyone knew that. Was it really necessary to go so far to destroy that illusion? I cannot understand. Erica didn't need Delanar to tell her how to have an childish fight. Well, I am a self-proclaimed intellectual rapist. I can't stand having magic confuse the truth. So you feel the full pleasure from exposing that. I sense a different emotion. A different emotion? What's that? To me, it feels like pleasure and more like a different negative emotion. You really are a murder doll, aren't you? Even your eyes are like nothals. My apologies. Please forgive me. Erica rolled over grumpily, turning her back to Delanar so Delanar couldn't see her expression. Even so, for some reason she could guess that this completely unobserved expression was one of pain. Interpreting this mean that Erica wanted her to go away, Delanar gave a bow and made to leave. Then Erica suddenly spoke. The words seemed so utterly out of place that Delanar doubted her ears and she had to ask Erica to say it again. What did you say? I love you. It really did seem utterly out of place. Delanar wanted to see what Erica really meant, but the latter still had her back turned and her face was out of sight. Thank you very much. I was going out with someone else a while back, but we completely broken up the others by saying things out of envy, but please ignore them. I'm going to devote my whole life to you, so I want you to do the same for me. Let's find happiness together. Delanar avoided asking what she was talking about and stood there in silence. For a while, Erica kept on dullly and emotionlessly repeating sloppy phrases that might have popped up at some shoujo manga, and inexplicably she once again followed up with a complete non sequitur. A new wallet. Of course, she had no idea what Erica was saying. However, with their back still to Delanar, Erica kept on saying disconnected words. A strange cat keychain, a type of cologne that didn't suit him, a music tape that's not his style, which he said he borrowed from his senior at the theater. His senior was asking so he had to go. He suddenly got a new part-time job. He said he was talking with a friend on the phone who just wouldn't hang up. Made too much curry and went to theater practice more often than he folds paper towels. The way he folds paper towels takes ever eaten. He knew more about cosmetics. Sorry, I was sleeping until he was left down. He spent the night over at his stage friend's place. My acting friends had a party here earlier. Someone must have left it behind. The drain and sink were cleaned out. Receipts and pointing cars from places he never goes. The muddy soles are evidence that you went out on a Sunday when it was raining. That matches a strange symbol on the calendar. None of your theater friends have heard this song. That's a leading question. How do you know the plot of a movie you haven't seen yet? Evidence, circumstantial evidence, observation, surveillance, checking, tailing, information gathering, wiretapping, asking around, questioning. I found tons of evidence that I loved you. I found tons of evidence that you loved me, but I can't find any evidence that you have been cheating on me. Give it a rest. If you love me, then trust me. If you can't do that, then you don't love me anymore. How could I love someone like that? I'll treasure you for all my life. And I want to do well in theater just as much. She said you'd like to see me act, right? So why are you telling me to stop acting now? Why do I have to choose between you and acting? What's wrong with you? I was seriously worn out, okay? Come on, if all we do is fight when we see each other, maybe we both need some time to cool off, okay? I need to concentrate on my next performance anyway. This girl working with Senpai suddenly says she wouldn't be able to perform. I need to rewrite the script by tomorrow. I don't have time for this. Anyway, if you really find it hard to trust me, we're through. Stay away. Just go home, bitch. I don't love you anymore. Damn it, don't cry. It's disgusting. Just die. Stop shouting, damn it. You're annoying the neighborhood. Just get the hell away from me. Never come back. Without love, it cannot be seen. Ha, that's backwards. Because of love, you end up seeing things that don't even exist. It's nothing more than an illusion, one that no one but you could see and one that you could never touch. Without love, humans would never need to sift through lies and truth and lies. Because we can see things like that, we doubt, we suffer, we cry out loud. Right now, I'm happy. Though it may be temporary, I become the witch of truth. As I am now, I no longer need to worry about being tormented by non-read words. What about you? How would you have countered my in-game? How would I? That useless way couldn't have played the part of my opponent in that game. I was wondering how you would have countered it. The later was suddenly thrust into the position of Erica's opponent in the witch's game. She had once challenged that man too. Leonard shed on the fragments of Erica's past and once made the grasp of the full situation. The board was reproduced in full inside our heads. The situation was one-sided. Erica set out constructed a blue truth based on countless bits of circumstantial evidence that turned all of those into pieces, and was already cornering the opponent. For some time, Leonard thought in silence, and announced her by the book response. First move, I demand that you provide evidence that I have been cheating. Counter with the blue truth, I present only 4 points of circumstantial and physical evidence. Counter with the blue truth, I present 6 points of circumstantial and physical evidence I still love you. Good. Blue and blue cancel each other out, but the number of pieces used to construct each is overwhelmingly unbalanced. When both opponents meet with the blue truth, their decision is almost always based on which side has more pieces of evidence, regardless of the actual circumstances. This is especially true in the human world, so by the standard rules, Erica would win. First point to me, your next move. I will attempt to switch offense and defense. I ask you, Lady Erica, to provide proof that you are not cheating. For a perpetual check, that's a forbidden move since it results in an endless repetition of the same question going both ways. Then I frankly declare that despite a lack of proof, I still love Lady Erica even now. That's not red truth, so it's invalid. Even if it was red, that'd be a stalemate. After all, I have no move to counter with. Delana remained silent for a while, then she quietly responded to Erica's moves until they reached checkmate. A stalemate is a forbidden move in the game of witches since it means the ruin of the game. However, in chess it also represents a draw. Because of this, it's a splendid final move that a weaker player can pull off if they're unable to win outright. In this situation, Erica clearly had the advantage, so it was natural that the laner would seek a stalemate to obtain a tie. However, that would only be the case in chess. In a game where witches fight over the truth, it's a forbidden move, so it's already checkmate from the very beginning. The laner had no way to turn the game around. However, regardless of the real truth between the pair of them had been, this game would be. Any other moves? Oh, witch hunting, Archbishop, protector of the truth? No, I resign. See, there you go. Erica has succeeded in crushing her opponent with the truth she espoused. That her former boyfriend no longer loved her and was cheating on her. Her opponent had no way to argue back. After all, humans are not allowed to. A splendid game, a splendid finish from a superior position. Regardless of the truth of her opponent, Erica could win a splendid victory. Laner could only respond with silence, and with that, Erica spoke no more. She's probably done talking and wanted Laner to leave. Laner understood this, but even so, before leaving, she wanted to tell Erica one thing. A splendid game, Lady Erica. It's only natural that the detective wins. Even before you became Lady Burkestill's piece, you were truly a splendid wielder of the blue truth. However, Lady Erica, humans are only allowed to use the blue truth, and the only thing that can counter blue truth is red truth, and humans are not allowed to use the red truth. In that case, how should your opponent have shown his truth? Who knows? Maybe you should have used that gold truth or whatever, which is supposed to be stronger than the red truth at times. You certainly were the victor in that game. However, allow me to say this as a protector of the truth. What? I imagine it's something unpleasant, so say it and go away. Yes, this game is your victory. However, you still have not denied the 6 parts of blue truth evidence I use to claim that I still love you. Even you are human, you cannot use red truth to deny these points. Later on, I use a detective's authority to have all 84 points transformed into red truth by the power of my master. I am human, yet superior to humans. A detective and a witch. I am the witch of truth, Ferrudo Erica. And any other questions, parting remarks? I have none. In that case, please excuse me. The laner bowed and disappeared. After that, all that remained was a single witch of truth, laughing off a bitter past with an equally bitter smile. Judging by the bedside clock, it was almost exactly 24 o'clock. Okay, guess I should get a little sleep. The curtain has finally opened on the second day, October 5th. I wonder if this round's murders are happening somewhere about now. I hope our victims leave us something interesting. Some interesting dying messages this time. Okay, I'm gonna take a few minute break here, guys. Okay, why don't you discuss this with your mother? This is like the partner who's supposed to support you throughout the rest of your life. That's right, she's the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with, and that's why you need to choose very carefully, right? How can you be so rash? Eva and George could be seen beneath the eaves of the guest house. George had revealed his engagement with Shannon. Eva's anger had exploded almost instantly. This had been no more than George had expected, so he responded with an ice-cold calm. Did you sleep with her? She told you she was pregnant to force you into marriage, didn't she? How rude. I'm a strong believer in preserving chastity before marriage. Then why an engagement? I asked her. She accepted. What more could be needed? No, it's all wrong. Marriage isn't as easy as it seems in manga or whatever you're thinking of. What about her parents, relationships between the two families? Are you some straight alley cat, or are you the Ushiramiya George? How could you be so rash now when you might even be selected as grandfather's successor? Why didn't you consult me? I'm consulting you right now. No, not consulting, I'm just reporting. I never counted on being selected as grandfather's successor. In fact, I'd rather refuse if it did come to that. I want to build up my own country and castle from the empty walls, just like father did. Now listen here. Do you realize how hard your father has worked to get here? That's not something you can duplicate just by imitating him. Do you understand how often he was saved by luck and coincidence before now? And he got through it because he had a wonderful life partner by his side, you. Seiyo is the kind of person who will support me and make me reborn as even a stronger man. You praised me for becoming the adult I am, but that could never have happened without her. What? Are you listening, George? Just let your mother handle this for now. Cool your head and think very carefully. Shannon isn't the only person interested in you, right? You even sound from that marriage meeting really took a liking to you. First I've heard of it, thought that you knew. Her parents would also very impressed by you if you really dreamed to build your own castle like your father. Ayumi-san is the one who'd really be able to help you, right? Do you intend to betray her feelings? There's nothing to betray. There was never any special relationship between Ayumi-san and me. We just had a marriage meeting and our parents got all fired up afterwards. You made us go out together several times, but we never looked at each other. Ayumi-san is a well-bred and modest woman, isn't she? She just couldn't look at you because you're a man, and it would be embarrassing and ill-mannered. If you can't feel anything from her unless she looks at your eyes, and just tell her that. I'm sure she'll look at you in the future. You want me to marry Ayumi-san because it will benefit you. You aren't pushing that engagement for the sake of anyone but yourself. George, how could you say that? Have I ever failed to think about what's best for you? I haven't, have I? What is a parent's job? Is to look after the long-term welfare of their child, right? We've been looking down upon your entire future from a great height, and from our vantage point, we can see that you're letting your momentary youthful emotions lead you down the wrong path. That's why I'm saying this, even though I know you'll hate me for it. If I didn't care for you, we wouldn't be having this fight. I'd just tell you to marry whatever strange girl you like and leave you be. You hear me, George? Leave this to your mother. There's no need for you to meet with Shen and Chen anymore. We'll take care of everything for you. Don't worry, we won't do anything about it, Shen and Chen. After all, it's thanks to her that you've grown so much. We won't forget that, so leave the rest to us, George. Sometimes during Eva's rage, tears had started to drip from her eyes. As though tears had caused him to hesitate, George turned his back and shrugged his shoulders. Even George is a child and man after all. Though he understands that marriage requires something more than the love of two people, he can't get over his desire for his parents' acceptance, and so he is trapped between the tears of his mother, who always helped him, and the fiancé he chose. Or is he? Okay. I think that's about enough. Huh? All my life, you've done a great job raising me, and I'm grateful for that. When I have children and become a parent, I'll become a parent like you. I'll be the kind of parent most worthy of respect in the entire world, one who could truly fight for his children's sake. George. With his back still towards her, George threw away his umbrella and slowly stepped out from beneath the eaves into the rain. Then he slowly turned around. It was without a doubt the familiar face of Eva's beloved son. However, he was though his own man, self-controlled and independent enough that their blood connection might be forgotten. I think it's about time. For what? I think it's about time you learn to let go of your son, mother. From now on, let's stop talking as mother and son. I am George, you're Eva. Let's forget that you're my parent and let our true intentions ring clear. The reason you want to choose the person I marry is for financial reasons, public appearances. It's so that you can look good in the continuing quarrel between you and your siblings. You have no other reason. You do well to just give up and admit it now. I'm about to share my point of view with you. I suggest you do the same. After all, you will lose. No traces of love or respect for his mother remained in George's eye. There was only a frigid glare as he gazed ruthlessly down at the witch who was trying to bind his future. George, why are you looking at your mother like that? Because I'm not looking at my mother. All I see is a wall, a trial that's standing in the way of the future I'm trying to grasp. You're only human. I know that you have dreams and ambitions and that you're still chasing after those. And I think that's a wonderful thing. We also know how hard it is for a person to chase their dreams without giving up. So I'll need to inherit your wonderful strength. I've learned a lot from my parents and my friends and Seiyo, and I'm grown. And the last thing I've learned, acquired, and perfected is the real Ushiramiya George, and how I'll overcome the final barrier, you. What? Eva had disappeared. The pouring rain landed evenly across the ground everywhere. No, it was blocked very slightly in one place. However, there was no one there. Standing on the ground as if the only way to block the path of the rain. Then, could it be? Sure, it's good for people to let their true feelings show every once in a while. I'll speak my mind too, so why don't you just lay it all out as well? In the rain-filled sky with the moon that shouldn't have been visible behind her was the golden witch of the future who had finally obtained everything of the Ushiramiya family. Even the drastic change in his mother's appearance didn't face George. On the contrary, he seemed to be moved by her boldness, because his mother had honestly and truly displayed her true nature. This way I could confidently show her my true self. Here we go, Mother. Here we go, Eva. This is my first step towards escaping from your shackles. First step! With that first step, he fell to the object beneath his feet. He knew that this sticky sensation differed from that of mud, represented his brother's arrogance, trying to prevent him from making that first step. I used to read to you all the time when you were little, didn't I? Do you remember your favorite story, Journey to the West? That takes me back. That was probably the first fantasy I really loved. Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, wanted to become a god and was tested by Buddha. If he could jump free from the palm of my hand, I would acknowledge your wish. Then Sun Wukong managed to reach what he thought was the end of the world and found 5 pillars standing there, only to discover that they were Buddha's fingers, and he still hadn't left Buddha's hand. And your unlucky list of my first step, me declaring my intention to break free from you. Yeah. Your resistance, your conflict, your anguish, your self-restraint, and everything else. All of it is a road I once traveled down. This first step of yours is so trivial that when compared to my life, it just get gobbled up. How long are you going to look away? Feeling just look at your feet. At George's feet on the pitch black earth soaked by the pounding rain. What was appeared to be a slightly red sash that glowed ominously and blocked George's first step. It was so deep and vicious that it held George's foot in place. From Eva's perspective, as she gazed down from the sky, it looked like a vast red spiderweb that radiated out with George at the center. That's right, this is me. This is me being tied down by the countless studies and raised for the sake of your ambitions. No, that's not it. Let me put it so you can understand. I'll show you, and then you'll realize the truth. The vast red spiderweb by the ground scooped up George as easily as scooping the scum out of a pot. Then it lifted him into the air like a deer caught in the net and swung him about. Laughing insanely, Eva was as innocent and cruel as a grade schooler happily swinging about a bag full with her gym clothes. Gagwoo. Come on, try to remember, okay? What happened on Tuesdays? Yeah, I remember that was a piano lesson. I still cringe whenever I hear I stepped on the cat. You did violin in kindergarten. That's the sort of instrument you expect Sparkies to play, right? But you didn't seem to have the talent, so we switched you over to piano. Then do you remember what you did on Wednesdays? I remember that was the day I had cram school. It was so far away and real pain to leave it have to travel to. And Thursdays, ha 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 ha. That was the day for supplement lessons. You were just terrible at subjects with memorization, weren't you? You could apply your knowledge, but they were horrible at learning by rote. A classic you could do it if you tries, kid. That one stung. Those are the most annoying words a kid can hear at a parent-teacher conference. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's a British aphorism, isn't it? Making it get and stay motivated was the hardest thing to do. Yeah, George is bound by the foot, by the George is bound hand and foot by the bright red spiderweb reduced to the witch's plaything. She innocently won him around and smashed him about all with an insane laugh, again and again. Do you remember what you did on Fridays? Of course. As far as after school lessons go, that one was pretty unique. A school you go to with your parents could be tried in more ways than one. Don't buy your child a fishing rod, go fishing with them. You certainly like British education theory, don't you, Mother? That school was hard on us parents too, but for you it was the most effective one. The monthly fee was high, and it was a pain to have to spend Friday nights there every week, but it did more for you than anything else. That's when I realized kids don't grow unless their parents watch over them. If children are spouse, then parents are the sons. No plants will bud, and no flowers will bloom without the sun. Still bound hand and foot, George was stone stunned and smashed. He could do nothing. He was still like someone calling, unable to leave the palm of his mother's hand. However, since he wouldn't surrender, he could still show resistance at any time. And on about Saturday's on, that's when the tutor came. He came to our house, which made it much easier, right? It was a pain having to invite some other person into my private room every week. I hated the smell of sweat left behind when he left so much that I could still remember it. He was a wonderful teacher who drilled a scholarly attitude into you, especially students who were on par with the lawyer's consolation fee, and it was well worth it. Then, on the Sundays and Mondays that followed, I didn't have any extra school and could finally rest. How ironic. Have those extra classes from Tuesday until Saturday help me down on this time. I really am just like Son Wukong. Yeah, if you are arrogant enough to think that you can escape on the palm of my hand, you'll be crushed by Buddha's 5 mountains. Son Wukong, who wanted to become a god, was crushed by the 5 mountains of fire, water, wood, metal, and earth, and sealed away. These are the 5 elements of the days of the week. Tuesday through Saturday are named after in Japanese. Only now that George, who had always admired Son Wukong, recognized the greatest of ironies. Just like Son Wukong, you need to reflect upon and be punished for your arrogance. If you can show that you're willing to reform yourself, I'll release you. That's not being released, it's brainwashing. Ugh. There's no need to think about anything. Why not just leave everything to Mama? I'll decide everything for you. That's the best kind of life for you. I found the most intellectual woman in the world willing to devote herself to you entirely. I'll arrange for all of your successes and will prepare the roads leading to them. Eventually, you will be chosen for the highest honor in the Ushiramiya family, the position as successor to the headship. Only then will you begin your true life. A first step, don't make me laugh. You still haven't even been born yet. This isn't my web that you're caught in. You're still inside my carrying, nurturing womb. George was slammed against the ground over and over. It was a heartless atrocity, unlike anything one would expect a blood-related son to receive. However, in Eva's eyes, perhaps even this was a sign of love for her precious son. The human-shaped lump of flesh wrapped in a rat bag was slipped over and over, then thrown high into the air, where it was caught in a massive spiderweb in the sky, still covered with fresh blood. While he hung there as though crucified, George didn't even twitch. Even if he had the power to resist remaining to him, the red web pinning him there would have held even that in check. The rain, which had been falling non-stop since the beginning, quietly tormented and pitied George. Be sealed by the 5 mountains and cool your head. I'm not telling you to stop because I think Shin is Shin's a bad kid, okay? She's a great girl, the one who gave you the chance you needed to grow up. However, an ill-considered engagement is a different matter entirely. The issue has nothing to do with some failing on her part. Understand that. Blame the problem, not the peer, right? That's another British saying. I really did raise you to be a smart kid. No, I am raising you. You're still inside me, right? You need to be nurtured a little longer. Okay, that's enough punishment, so apologize to your mother. The spider web released George reluctantly. Then it threw him to the ground beneath the cloudy sky. Thank you, Mother. It was all George could do to get up on his hands and knees. Though he wiped away the mud, set at the grass ground, he still couldn't raise his head. Everything you've done so far, you've done for me, haven't you? Thank you. Thanks for everything. That's right, you must hate me now. But one day you'll thank me. I'm sure you understand how much I loved you. Being bound by all those extra classes from Tuesday until Sunday, there's a sign of how hard you worked to raise to be an excellent man. That's another British phrase to cover a child and blessings is the greatest education of all. Thank you. In return, I'll give you a British song. What's that? Even if you strike all the trees of the forest ones with an axe, you will not fell a single tree. I don't know, what does that mean? Maybe this one is clearer. To spend too much time in studies is sloth, friends is bacon. The man drenched in mud and blood straightened his crooked glasses and slowly stood up. Though he was covered in filth, his appearance had a divine quality to it, something that could only appear in a self-controlled man, not one who had merely been dosing his mother's amniotic fluid. I cannot count the number of things I've learned from Sayo. She taught me courage, chivalry, how to be ambitious and witty and humorous, and just a little stylish. It's ironic. Almost all of the things you say are so wonderful about me didn't come from you at all. George, are you still time to get back in Mother's room? I'll nurture you in a sea of warmth once more. As Eva howled, a bright red spider web appeared at George's feet once more, tried to scoop him up into the air again. However, at that instant, a powerful magic circle could be seen in the area, surrounding George for just a moment. Faster than he could be scooped up by the spiderweb, George jumped, and with a sharp kick of the heel, a magnificent forward flip, he cut the shackles of that spiderweb apart. That smooth movement proved that he had possessed the power to escape those shackles all along. He had willingly allowed himself to be bound by that web. Everything I owe you for what you've done, I've paid back now with pain. Thanks to that, I'll think I'll finally be able to leave the nest for good. You really do need these every now and then. Fights between parents and kids. George, why must you disobey me so completely with a little girl like that? It looks like you really do need to let go, Mother. Maybe it's about time. Time for what? It's about time. Time to start fighting back. The curtain of spiderwebs that Eva shot out in defense were all too slow. George weaved through them in an instant, and the next he was right before her eyes. Arrgh. Eva jumped out of the way of a kick that would have knocked her feet out from under her, then blocked the second half of George's double roundhouse with a high kick of her own. I guess just one thing I can thank you for teaching me. Oh, and what day of the week was that? It's some martial arts training we focused on during long breaks from school. Yeah. I'm glad, George, to hear that you're grateful for at least one thing. Your mother is so happy. Yeah. Ewa's swift feet flashed like lightning. Low, mid-level attack. As George's head fell forward, she was caught in both hands as though she was about to smash it against the ground. It was then met with Ewa's Lee as it rose like a bolt of lightning from the earth. You should have learned the Muay Thai too. It would have been more fun had I learned it with you. You're right, I never had more fun when I was learning martial arts with you. Then right now is when we get to have the most fun. Isn't it fun, George, isn't it? It is fun to play with your son like this, Mother. Yes, it is. You're my precious son, and I'll love you lots and lots inside my room. I even love it when you kick in there. Understood, but this kick's coming from the outside of your belly. George's knee buried itself into Eva's abdomen. In an instant before she felt the pain of the fierce attack, Eva watched her son's kick with a proud smile and then vomited. You're getting on in years, Mother. Maybe it's about time you held back on wearing childish clothes like that. George! Her chin still covered in vomit, Eva looked up at George in twisted anguish. She could see how pathetic her face was by her reflection in his glasses. Both of you and I need to leave our childhood days behind. So long, Mother. The fierce lightning and rain made time freeze. George's beautiful kick had stopped an inch from Eva's chest. However, the power of the red magic circle surrounding George had already pierced Eva's body. Though he had stopped without hitting her, blood poured out of Eva's back. No wound had been left on her chest, but her heart had been punched through. Eva slumped backwards and landed in a puddle with a splash. There was no convulsions. Her life had ended without leaving her even an instant to read about in pain. I know you're somewhere over there, Gap. As he straightened his glasses, George spoke to the rose thicket behind him. Then a pitch-black hole opened in the air there, and Gap jumped out. Impressive, even considering that it was before her ascension. I can't believe you managed to defeat Eva Beatrice. I thought you'd be there. Thanks for not interfering. I'm glad we were able to keep it between mother and son. But of course, I wasn't here. You summoned me just now. It doesn't matter either way. I have something to ask of you. Is there any reason I should listen? Will you refuse to listen? With his back still facing her, George raised his glasses. The fat in his voice held the solemn presence of a king who controlled demons. The presence made Gap a gulp, and she licked her lips before bowing respectfully to his back. I like hot guys, but I like monarchs even more. Your wish is my command, old demon king. I want you to lay her body to rest in a place fitting for a woman who admired the head of the Ushiramiya family and who lived her life with the misguided dreams of the position. So in Kenzo's study, no. The VIP room will do fine. That never opened VIP room on the second floor of the mansion. Ah, that room, as you wish, Your Majesty. Gap approached Eva's corpse and lightly tapped the ground with her right heel. When she did, a large hole opened up, swallowed both Gap and the corpse enclosed. After a while, a small hole opened in the air, and the staff Eva always carried, marked with the one-winged eagle that symbolized the Ushiramiya family's leader, was spat out into a puddle because the corpse was no longer any use for it. George slowly approached that staff and stepped down hard on the tip. When he did, the staff spun violently into the air, and after passing by the blue moon that honored the Demon King, it flew into George's outstretched hand. The instant he grasped it, another fierce lightning bolt landed nearby, and by the time the flash disappeared, the staff he had held became a spray of cold butterflies and vanished. It was as though George had crushed his staff out of existence. And now I've finished my part. I'll let someone else have a turn. I can't believe you tucked your own mother. It's the person who loves you first in this world, and the last one you have to separate yourself from. That's what it means to leave your home. This is the courage I need to show to take sales as my wife. George Sama. Bravo, Ushiramiya George. An excellent start. Even though it was just within the game, even though it was just a piece, I didn't like having to kill my mother. However, that was the trial you set me, so I saw through it. You stared at the two demons, the demons looked at each other, then showed their surprise with their now familiar exaggerated gestures. Wonderful, what's that splendid apart? Indeed it was for her. George Khan's determination is the real deal. It seems I misjudged you. Please accept my apologies. George chose not to go along with this theatrical conversation. He just quietly looked down upon the game board, found the piece representing his mother, which was right next to his, and then tipped over. It was the last straw that Zip Heart Prefer had set for him, so that love of the pair will stand true. Offer up the life of one person by your own hands. It was similar to that trial during Beto's games, where they gave him 3 options as part of a test to select the next family head. However, a pair of lovers will never have been in each other's lives, so they were automatically left with the option of sacrificing the life of another instead. In fact, it was merciful that they only had to choose the life of one person other than themselves instead of all. And besides, it only meant taking those lives as pieces on the board. For the virtues of themselves, to whom the game board was the only world, was a tragic parasite. But to those who stood around the game board in which's smoking room, it was nothing more than a hymn of the pieces representing George's will to overcome his parents. However, the fact remained that the demons had ordered them to take these lives, even if it was just within one of the endless fragment worlds. George appeared to have distanced himself from the events on the demon game boards, but Jessica still seemed to resist the idea of stealing another person's life, even if it was only their life as a piece on the game board. Have you been scared stiff? No, the beaches that Battler's son desires would not be shaken by the likes of this. Well then, who will undergo the next trial? Please choose the next victim, it doesn't matter who. Please name the next challenger, any of you may go. If no one speaks up, that means I win, doesn't it? Yes, that's right. If so, congratulations, Usha and George. The key that leads to success, love between you and the one you cherish. Well now, hold it right there. And as Demon solidly named George as the victor, they were interrupted by the next challenger. Jessica-san, I'm up next. Okay, I'll do it. I'll show you that I'm serious about Ken and Kun. Okay guys, I'm gonna take a few minute break here. Okay guys, I'm back. That was a really nice few minute break. As usual, this Fears from the conference is getting bogged down. Everyone had decided to cool their heads for a moment, and a short break had been agreed upon. The four siblings could say whatever they wanted, but Nasui and Kari, for example, were outsiders that found it difficult to speak freely in this sort of atmosphere. A conference where you aren't allowed to say what you want can be tiring, even just you sit there quietly. Even Kari couldn't help letting out a deep sigh. This was the second floor hallway of the mansion. Rudolph had wanted to be alone during the break, so she had felt like doing the same, and had drifted up the stairs to reach this place. Kari's expression was less tightly controlled than when her husband was around. She wore as tired look as she did often show. She pressed her cheek against the cool window glass. I need to regain my spirit and support my husband, even if I'm not allowed to speak. That's the duty I've won. Who is it? She suddenly insisted another person turned around to look behind her and saw Jessica sitting at the other end of the hallway. Oh, it's you, Jessica, trying that you go to their guest house? Well, I sort of decided to head back to my room to get a book. I see, and you're on your way back to the guest house now. Yes, that's right. I can't stand this right now. Is the wind really strong? It's weak right now, relatively speaking. As Kari looked out the window, Jessica watched her back, looking agitated. Kari, I'm sorry, but you've only got your bad luck to blame. Zapar, Jessica's roulette fate has chosen Kari. What will you do, Jessica? The roulette has chosen Kari, but you may reject that choice to spin a roulette again if you wish. It doesn't matter whose life is sacrificed for this trial. Jessica wasn't like George. George had willingly chosen Eva to be a sacrifice to signify his separation from his old life so that he could step into a new life married to Shannon. However, Jessica hadn't thought of any particular target, so she had lifted up to the roulette of fate. This was no exaggeration. She had walked around at random, imposing a rule on herself that the first person she met would be chosen as her sacrifice, and so the roulette of fate had brought her to Kari. Of course, there was nothing forcing her to keep that rule. However, Jessica didn't want to break rules she had once made. Even though she was participating in that demon's game, she still wanted to cling to this one last virtue. Right now, she could attack the unprotected back, but Jessica still wasn't able to fully resolve herself. What is it? Do you have something to say to me? Not understanding the strange distance Jessica was sitting at, Kari turned around. That unprotected back was already gone. Jessica realized that her hesitation had made her lose her own first chance. She had taken out this demon's game to prove her love for Kenan. However, would it really be okay to sell her so the demons for the sake of love? She had energetically consented to this demon's game, not wanting to let George, who had already taken an open-minded view of the situation, get any more of a lead on her, but her heart still wasn't ready. Maybe I shouldn't be asking you this, Kari. What is it? It's rare for you to ask me questions, Jessica-chan. I hope I'm capable of answering them for you. Actually, I have something I like. Oh, really? That's wonderful. Then is it love you wanted to talk about? Yeah, pretty much. Very well. I'll help out if I can. Thank you very much. Actually, is it still one-sided? Now, I guess you could say that's just become mutual, but well, there's this trial for us to be joined together. A trial? Now, what could that be? There's the two of us and another pair of lovers that we have to fight each other. I mean, a love triangle, or is it a square? So it's complicated. And only the pair who wants to be together is something complicated like that. In other words, That sounds awful. I love where neither side can succeed unless they use the other as stepping stones. Yes, if you're joined and they all fall apart, and the same the other way around. I think I see where you're going with this. Something like this, right? How far is a person allowed to take advantage of others to find happiness, right? Yes, Kari was very smart. She had already guessed the question that Jessica wanted to ask the most. If you don't fight, it automatically becomes their victory and you'll lose. However, if you fight and win, it means all fall apart. It's nasty either way. However, the answer is obvious. Yes, Kari giggled. If she wasn't willing to stick her lips until the end, then that would show the limits of the relationship. If that were the case, she would just let the other pair of lovers win. However, if this is a love she couldn't abandon, she couldn't abandon her chances of victory either, so she had no other options than to fight. In the end, Jessica's hesitation was caused by guilt over forcing the others to split apart as a result of her inevitable decision. I guess I really am just looking for an excuse. Yes, that's what you're doing. So does it mean it's easier to step over someone else for the sake of your own love? In that case, will you give up on your lover? That's... I can tell you one thing for certain, doing that will be even more painful. You'll be forced to crawl through the hell for the rest of your life. A hardness had entered Carrie's gaze. I was just 6, so I don't remember much about that time. However, I found Mom's notebook among her belongings after she died. What is it, a diary? It was more a collection of her thoughts. It was much bigger than a diary would have been. I found it and read it after she passed away, but I needed to wait until I had grown for several years before I could understand it. I see, so did it speak of Kari's worries about her marriage? It was practically a book of curses. It cleared up several questions I vaguely felt back when I was 6. When I was 6, it seemed as though my parents were very close and had no problems, and though I thought it was odd that Jen lived separately, even though he was in our family, I accepted that it was the way things were. Did you not know about Asumu? I think Onichan talked to me about her when no one was around, but it wasn't something a kid who was even in elementary school could understand. After all, I never even saw a picture of her. Mom asked all the pictures with Asumu in them to Onichan, leaving them behind in the house. To Ange, a butler who only rarely came home, Kari's smile never faltered. If she hadn't written her thoughts in a notebook, Ange would probably never had known them. Since his school days, Rudolph had been particularly popular with girls, a typical playboy, be bold over the top, yet just still a little bit gentle towards women. He probably kept that formula for being popular with women inside his head. In their attempts to win Rudolph's favor, several women tried various seductive tricks. Rudolph probably enjoyed that part most, but since the beginning of love having game to Rudolph, he never thought of it as a trial and error process to find a single life partner. He would intentionally spark jealousy between the women and lap up their compliments and revel in the harem. He may be my father, but he was an awful man. But at the same time, Dad must have looked down on those toadying girls. Mom, who was very aware of her self-worth and extremely intelligent, must have stood out. Though even that might have been due to Kyrie's more skillfully methods of catching Rudolph's gaze. Yeah, maybe. Mom was smart in lots of ways. Like the other Ushirmiyev siblings, Rudolph had strong ambitions and lofty goals. Under the mottos of, if you can pull it off, you're golden, and as long as no one finds out. He would alternate between setting up businesses that were borderline swindles or illegal, then running away. I never heard that in blah, blah, blah. I've heard that in his college years that he was already making use of that talent. Think of shameless projects of cleverly making money through penning selling the party tickets, so much that he could brag about carrying a wallet full of 110,000 notes all the time. Many women fell for his charisma and the being man responsible for the radical projects as well as thick wallet and generosity. It would be a lie to say that Kari wasn't one of them. However, what made Kari very different from the other women was that she could support Rudolph as a business partner. Rudolph would make a large-scale party successful and able to hide his laughter at this massive easy profit. The women who would surround him. Among them, only Kari was calm and composed. She could point out several ways that income and expenditure could be improved upon, and could even lay out a proposal for the next project. So Rudolph slowly began to accept her as a partner. Just like some people say men don't belong in the kitchen, there are also assist women that should stay out of financial affairs. It's normal for men to foot the bill for women, and the details of how those 10,000 yen notes were scrounged up are vulgar, so they don't ask, they don't know, don't care. So you're saying that Kari viewed money from a man's perspective. Rudolph noticed a true treasure in his pot of Kari. He knew exactly how much hard work it took to get just one of those 10,000 yen notes. So somewhere inside him, he had looked down upon those extravagant women who had never even considered the efforts he had undertaken. Of all of them, only Kyrie possessed the same sharp financial intuition as Rudolph. Every time he thought of a new plan, he would talk to Kyrie about it, work out the kinks, and make it succeed. In this way, Kyrie steadily worked her way up until she was the number one of Rudolph's large group of followers. But Mom was still a woman. I doubt she enjoyed seeing Dad pampered by all those other girls. So she would rather have him, she would have rather have been his only one instead of his number one. Yeah, though she served as Dad's right hand, she slowly got rid of the other women in the shadows. It was only a matter of time before Mom would succeed in her love. When did Asuma come into the picture? She was one of Rudolph's son's groupies. No, not even that. She was just one of his fans. Did you ever talk with her? Of course. I knew her well, ever since the very beginning, before Rudolph's son even knew her name. I'm sure she was quite intelligent herself and cunning. I tried to use my intelligence to stick out, but she did it in exactly the opposite way, by being stupid. I mean, she was good at triggering his protective instinct that of all the girls who came to flatter and flirt with him, only she stood out with every action she made, unlike the flashy girls Rudolph's son had tired of. Kyrie still acknowledges the mistake she had made in letting Asuma Rudolph get too close. Kyrie, I thought that taking the role of Rudolph's business partner meant she would have him all to herself. That might have been due to her pride, it might have been her arrogance, so she tried to eliminate the relationships between all the other girls and Rudolph. Perhaps she sometimes tried too hard as a business partner, putting too much pressure on him, regardless of the fact that it was justified. Bit by bit, Rudolph had started to need a woman who could stay quiet and smooth him without making him think about anything complicated. That woman was Asumu. I'm ruthless, intellectual, rational, and economical, and a plank of carneades, maybe? Situation. I would push your person off without hesitation. I thought that was the kind of partner suitable for him. However, though that ruthlessness had made her reliable on the business side of things, it might have been disturbed Rudolph deeply outside of business. At some point, though Rudolph still acknowledged Kyrie's skill, he began to yearn for quiet, warm acceptance. Assuming he had satisfied all those conditions, she would never talk about anything complicated. Even if he did, she would just shake her head to say she didn't know. However, she would care more for him physically than anyone else, quietly putting a blanket on him and staying by his side until morning. Yes, I did get the position of his business partner, but before I knew it, Rudolph had grown a need for a mental partner, someone who could heal his heart. Though I foolishly claimed to be the intellectual one, I never noticed. And then Uncle Rudolph married Aunt Rasumu. Yes, that's right. She stole him away by sleeping with them. He had slept with a lot of women. By that point, he wasn't the kind of guy that let his emotions be captured by a woman just because he slept with her. After all, sleeping with women was just a game to him. That's why I used something other than my body to attract his attention. Well, pride as a woman. Before long, they were both pregnant. Asuma-san told Dad about it right away, but Mom did the opposite. So she was afraid that the pregnancy would threaten her position as his business partner. Apparently, Mom didn't eat much at the time, so her period was often irregular. Because of that, it took a really long time before she realized she was pregnant. When did she notice? It was after Asuma-san suddenly moved into Dad's family register. Mom learned about her pregnancy after that, and plotted several times to split Asuma-san and Dad apart, but even though Asuma-san always acted like such an airhead, once she got her hands on Rudolph and son, she didn't let go. Why should I care? Please stay out of our way, she's saying. This is coming from that little girl who would curl up in a ball every time she got on the bus. At that point, I realized she had been truly the cunning one. Yes, even her fear of vehicles was another lie to catch Rudolph's on sympathy. My apologies, I must be boring you. Oh no. At the very least, I wanted him to acknowledge the child I would give birth to. It seems as though Rudolph's son was prepared to do that. He made sure there was a hospital waiting for me, even though Asuma was close to giving birth herself, he gallantly came to see me, even though she was already his wife. What an awful man, really. After that, this is a tale I can't better tell. Both Asuma and I had the same delivery date, and yet her pregnancy had met her marriage, where mine was completely meaningless. I swore to bring up my child well, and I Rudolph's-san acknowledged it. The fight between Asuma-san and me ended with my loss. However, I wasn't down for the count. If I could make my child excel far more than Asuma-san's, if I could make it fully acknowledged by Rudolph-san, I would be rewarded. That's what I believed. However, that child was a stillbirth. Yeah, Inazuma-san gave birth to Oni-chan, but Mom didn't give birth to anyone. Even Mom's final hope of being left at a spot as their second wife was destroyed. Kari had fallen from being his partner to being his second wife, and then unable to give birth to the bottom of a child, she stumbled down to being merely his mistress. Can't imagine how much she must have hated assuming that kid Battler. And despite that, Mom was able to act in a very friendly way towards Oni-chan. It was definitely a shock for me to think that my gentle mother had held such a negative emotion for Oni-chan and had managed to hide them. She wants to despise Battler. Probably if Asuma-san had still birth and Mom gave birth to Oni-chan, his history might have changed in some way. Had been not the case, it seems she would have wanted to set up some scenario in which she'd make Dad divorce Asuma and marry her instead. Was that also written in a book where she kept her thoughts? Yeah, after all that, she was just a random thought of delusion of Mom's resentment as she chewed on the corner of her tear-stained bed sheets. There's just one thing I regret. You mean the pregnancy? No. It's my arrogance I regret. Rudolph's son is mine now, so I'm completely safe. I'll never lose to that Sumu kid. When she was busy screaming her head off on buses and planes, I was capable of properly managing the arrangements and the expenditures for them. And so I was overly confident that I was the one Rudolph trusted the most. They say love needs to be nurtured, right? Yeah, that's not wrong. The two of you need to water it, care for it, nurture it, and in the end, I'll finally bear the fruit called love. Did you know love doesn't end when it bears fruit? If you don't harvest it well, the romance you stir with will never amount to anything. Harvest it. You need to think about that yourself, Jessica Chan. If you make it bear fruit without harvesting it, it can sometimes grow rotten, and bugs will often gather around it. In fact, sometimes thieves will come by and pluck off the branch. Young kids like you, Jessica Chan, think that love ends with the nurturing. That is naive. If you don't harvest it, you'll never be rewarded for your love. Harvest love. At a glance, it may seem to be a matter just between a pair of lovers, but that isn't true. Putting them off the harvest just because you assume you can do it any time just gives them thieves a chance. What if that fruit you worked so hard to nurture gets pulled off the branch the next morning? You'll regret that you didn't choose to harvest it previous day instead of complaining. That regret really hurts. It'll make you crawl through hell. I'm lucky. My hell ended after 18 years. So I'll never misjudge myself again. That person is mine. I won't let him get away. I won't let him out of my sight. And I'm grateful to my master for giving me that chance. My certain willpower and not giving up on that man no matter what was answered with a miracle. By now Jessica was speechless and they even urged Kari to continue. This true form of love that Kari was telling her about was far more harsh than anything that she had imagined. Right now, I would do anything to keep Rudolph's son by my side, and I will show no mercy against his enemies. If he wished it, I might not even hesitate at murder. And because I finally resolved myself to doing that, I'm at the 18th year that a certain willpower brought about a miracle for me. You know, miracles only. I didn't get that last part. Backlog. Because of the resolve of 18 years, certain willpower brought about a miracle for me. You know, miracles only appear for those who can bring them to completion themselves. Asuma's death had not been a murder of any sort. However, Kari had constantly cursed her and hoped for her death. And finally, on the 18th year, she had built up the determination to kill her with her own hands. As she actually had gotten herself a blade to do the deed with. That was when the miracle had occurred. And Asuma passing away was a miracle. Wrong. That wasn't even close to a miracle. Huh? After all, if she hadn't died, I would have killed her. In other words, she was fitted to die no matter what. The miracle is that even though she did die, I didn't have to get my hands dirty, that's all. Until now, Kari had never shown Jessica no, she had never even shown Rudolph that glint in the deepest depths of her eyes. It told plainly that clearly that romance had love are not the sweet and fluffy candies that young girls imagine it to be. Jessica was overwhelmed by that pressure and stunned, silent, and she had to acknowledge it. This was the power of the will that could make love be realized. With the force of this willpower, Kari had supported Rudolph as a wife, and it was the same as George's. He had already developed and proven that he had the willpower to oppose all the obstacles of love between different classes. Right now, Jessica could clearly understand that this was the magnitude of George's determination, which had allowed him to coldly carry out as part of the child. Then what about her? Did she really have to resolve to make her love with Ken and bear fruit, and then have to harvest that fruit? Okay, so I'm going to take a few minute break here. Okay, I took like a 10-15 minute break there. Whoops, okay, as time was flying by, I need to get this done. Yeah, I'm sorry, you probably just wanted a little advice and I scared you. Blame the weather. I just wanted to brush you a bit, but I've gotten overboard. Carrie lit a relaxed smile rise to her face, the tense atmosphere falling slack, and however, her words have been gouged into Jessica's heart. I don't know what your love has been like, Jessica Chan, but if you've ever rival and neither is willing to back down, you can't let yourself become complacent. If you do, you'll end up like me for the sake of love, a woman who should be prepared to kill at least once in her life. I can tell you that all women in the world who call themselves mothers have been through that after all. Women who don't do that are chewed up to bits by the others and forced to crawl through the hell of envy and regret for the rest of their lives. My hell lasted 18 years. I was lucky to be pardoned. After just 18 years, that hell is still filled with women who will never get out until they die, unless they execute themselves in their regret. How should I put it? I have nothing to say. I was trying to cheer you on, but here I've gotten scared you too much. I'm truly sorry. Love can be much more easygoing than that, okay? Love is really like playing with fire. Anyone can play easily and lightheartedly, but when you mess up and get burned, that scar stays with you your whole life. Regrets on love never fade. That was all that Kari had been trying to communicate. It was like Kari to start telling stories from her past stories. From her past stories you would normally never expect her. Shit. It was like Kari to start telling stories from her past, stories you would normally expect her to avoid instead of giving a brief answer. However, Kari might have thought Jessica deserved to hear. Jessica had timidly brought up the subject of love. Perhaps Kari had opened up and told everything because she had seen the fires of Jessica's determination in her eyes. Okay, I need to head back soon. Let's keep what we talked about a secret, okay? With a mysterious smile on her face, Kari turned around. I wonder if I scared her too much. Still, it's 100 times better to learn of the help I'm a warning. Once you fall into it, it's already too late. Good luck, Jessica Chen. That sounds complicated, but don't lose. He used to every day to act as a mentor. What is it, Jessica Chen? Huh? And one storm grazed Kari's head. It had been a hair's breadth away. If Kari hadn't twisted her body slightly, that fist would have probably been buried in her face by now. A bitter smile rose to Jessica's face when she saw that her first strike had failed to claim the kill. Just so you know, I didn't strike you unaware in a set of cowardice. I hope to end it with a single painless strike before you realize what was happening. Didn't I tell you that I lived through the hell of jealousy? I've been nearly burned a couple times already. I know how it feels just before a surprise attack. You mean you could sense it? That plus the lie you told in the beginning. A lie? Come now, if you had come from the guest house to get a book to your room, you wouldn't have come to this hallway in that direction. Of the 7 reasons you might have had for lying, which chessboard theory led to me. This was the worst case scenario. Telling the hasty-lighted Kari would only put her on her guard. If Jessica hadn't told that lie, her surprise attack would have succeeded. Not bad. I should have expected it from you, Aunt Kari. Why, were you planning to kill me from the beginning? It didn't matter who it was. How horrible. So you said that gave me a boost I needed. Thanks a lot. I don't know, I like Aunt Kari. Screw Jessica. What? Kari dodged a punch placed in her hand against his face and slammed against the wall. Normally Jessica would have hurt her hand on the wall and rolled around clutching in that pain. However, Jessica's face had left what looked like a meter-wide crater in the wall. Instead of wearing a look of anguish, Jessica clicked her tongue in irritation at having missed. Incredible. I see that you are your father's daughter. Have you taken up boxing too? Impossible. Jessica's bare-handed as she is and holding any sort of weapon at all. Please don't raise this down, Kari. Just went straight to the head. I won't let you feel a thing. Kari tried to look confident, but she couldn't hide her confusion at this unreal destructive force. If that punch had hit her head, it probably would have split open like Jessica had said, killing her without any pain. Here I go. If Kari's kick off the ground and backward leap had been an instant slower, her go would probably have been pulverized. Though she had avoided it by a hair, Jessica's left body was followed by a terrible burst of wind like an explosion which blew Kari back. Is this a dream? Am I still sleeping? I don't understand. This Jessica looked like a normal Jessica, but what something was different. It wasn't human, and common sense didn't apply to it. This had to be some kind of nightmare. Kari slowly stood up. She looked at Jessica and noticed the several meters between them and realized just how far that blasted wind has sent her flying. Feel free to hate me, however, just like you, I cannot back down. I can't let my love in half-baked either. What are you talking about? Hey, what are you saying? What on earth is going on? Someone tell me. I've seen around Jessica seeing them being like a heat wave. You've seen them being shut and shutting her fist, and it seemed as though something like a red magic circle had appeared beneath her feet. It looked just like a western demon standing amidst the flames of hell. Flame upgrade, mass upgrade, armor piercing upgrade. Each time Jessica murdered, her fist was surrounded by a pulsing and sinister red light. Those fists, which were actually smoked, surely represented the iron hammers of hell wielded by demons. Goodbye, this is just a nightmare. Kari dashed away with lightning speed. Yes, right now that was her best option. Unfortunately, she was smart enough to realize that picture in her cheek wasn't the best way to wake up from this nightmare. Roanoke. When Jessica muttered once more, blood red magical barrier cut across the corridor. Kari summoned into it hard and realized that her path of escape had been cut off. Gah, make this stop, I don't understand. This is a nightmare, it's a nightmare. Let me wake up quickly. Yes, this is a nightmare. If you want, I'll wake you up right now. Just one strike, don't move. Wielding her flames, Jessica slowly stepped forward towards her. Each time her foot lifted off the floor, a scorching sting hung around her footprints. This was true nightmare. Kari clenched her head in her shin, Kari clutched her head in her hand, shaking it over and over again. If it's a nightmare, right? This is a nightmare, isn't it? Please tell me it is. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It is, right? It's a nightmare, right? I acknowledge it. This is a nightmare. I do too. I acknowledge that this is a nightmare. So, I'll wake you up. Just one strike. Wow. Jessica's neck was twisted at an odd angle, and she stuck her backwards, her eyes white as though she didn't have a clue what just happened. Thank God. Screw Jessica and Alpha wanted to kill Aunt Kari. In her forehead, a demon stick was buried at an angle. It pulled itself out of her, spun around, and became Leviathan and landed. The hole left behind her Jessica's head spewed blood. Leviathan, I'm envy right here. If we were already in some nightmare, why not have a friend from my nightmare show up? My friend from the hell of envy. Things were showing up just in the nick of time. It's too early to think. Maybe she's not down yet. Oh no. She's still alive? Even though she had taken a deep gouge to the top of the head, Jessica just stood there, convulsing and wide-eyed, and then fall over. The blood stopped pouring out of her forehead, and her dank doll-like eyes returned. Then she slowly pressed her own head against the wound in her forehead. There was a sizzle as though she had pressed a hot iron against it. It was easy to tell she was doing to seal up the wound. If Kari didn't escape now, there would never be another chance. Can I defeat her? No such luck. She's immortal thanks to a contract with one of the great demons. Because of love, that's why she's immortal. Yes, love is magnificent. Those with our blessings cannot be killed. Can we break that red magic wall? Someone's also a great demon. There's nothing I can do. Can we escape through the window? That was blocked by Ronald someone's barrier a while ago. Incredible, so she has sold her soul to demons for the sake of love. How could she make so many contracts with the great demons? I'm so jealous. Armor upgrade. All attribute defense. Counterattacking armor upgrade. In response to those words, this time her entire body pulsated with the red light. She had downgraded herself with a defensive power that would prevent Leviathan attacks from working again. What's she talking about? Self-augmentation is a kind of enchantment. Right now she has a defensive power to stop me from piercing her. If she even has the ability to reflect that damage back upon the attacker, she's no longer human. She's a monster. Oh, so that's all, and then not much has changed. How could you say that? Just like in the very beginning, we still had no chance of winning. That hurt, but it won't work again. Jessica slowly lifted the hand that had been covering her forehead, and there was no longer any hole there. The hole was cut off by barriers on both sides, and even the windows were sealed. There was no way out. Is the door to this room sealed? No, it's just locked. But it's just a normal room. It does have a window, but it's already been sealed. In other words, it's a closed room and a coffin for us. A coffin is just what I need. Unlock it. I'm just, well, you're the only one who can unlock it. The fact that the stake flew about at high speeds, ramming itself into the keyhole into that room. The tip of the stake had become a key. As soon as it was unlocked, the door flew open. Both of them fell into the room and quickly locked it. It was probably Cross's study. Its soothing furnishing brought us about a sense of nobility that Cross would probably like. Even if you locked the door, she could smash through it with one punch. You could just put lid on your own coffin. However, she was to land a killing blow on us, so this coffin she'll have to take off the lid first. With dim eyes, Jessica tilted her head upon hearing Kyrie's words. What are you talking about? How would such a small room be able to protect you, Kyrie? This room may be a closed room. It may leave us with no method of escape. However, even if you can't break into this room, that's what a closed room is. What are you talking about? How does this tiny room with this tiny door make you think you can escape me? Jessica weirdly looked up between her own burning fist and the door with a confused expression on her face. Then slowly she set that pulsating red light to her fist. She repeatedly enchanted her fist again and then shook the power for the killing blow. I'll smash this door to bits. If you think you can, give it a try. Kyrie, after slowing the door and calmly saying those words, Kyrie placed a single index finger on the door. Jessica slowly raised her fire-breath demon's fist. So long, Kyrie. Kyrie. Oh, Jessica's fist slammed into the door in a slow motion. It was like the decisive scene in a movie was being acted out. However, this was no act. Jessica's fists were really slowing down as though they were being sucked in like a spoon sinks through a jar of honey. That punch was no longer a punch. It was no more a knock. I envy you. Envy. I crawled through the hell of envy for 18 years because of my arrogance and naivety in love. So I envy you. You're going to remember my warnings, succeed in love, and walk a beautiful life, right? I envy you. You'll get to live through the most beautiful time in a woman's life for a full 18 years longer than I did. I envy you so much. Jessica tried to slam her fist against the door over and over again. However, as soon as her fist approached it, its speed plummeted it. She could barely knock, much less smash the door. Speed upgrade. Instantaneous force upgrade. Speed of sound upgrade. It's useless, girl. Smash it. With full speed upgrades, Jessica's fist moved at the speed of sound. 1,225 kilometers per hour. However, how long had Jessica been in envy to gain that speed? She had started envy towards Shanna's relationship about 2 years ago. 2 times 065 equals 730 days. 730 times 24 equals 17,520 hours. However, she was envious all the time. It only happened when Shannon started going on about George, with Shannon's shift on about 3 days of the week, divided by 7 times 3, and it was as though she would go on about George all day long. Her final words for him would only leave a mark on Jessica for about an hour, right? So only 1/24th of each day. 17,520 divided by 7 times 3 divided by 24 equals 312. Removing the fractional part, the number of hours that Carrie had been closed was 157,680. In other words, this was even 0.2% of the time Curry had been jealous. Even 1,225 kilometers per hour with the speed of sound becomes only 2.45 kilometers per hour in the 1 out of 500 world. Understand, you're lacking in both love and jealousy. Even if she increased the speed of her fist in Kyrie's world, Jessica couldn't make any faster than a walking child. Jessica ground her teeth, her fist still pressed against the door. If someone could have seen this on both sides of the door, it would have looked as though Kyrie was holding the shut with a single finger. Way to go, Kyrie. See, this room is a closed room. At most, Jessica tried to knock on the door, but she can't lay a finger on us inside. Picture's definition of a closed room. What the heck is that? At this rate, this closed room will be troublesome indeed. It's impossible for a human to carry out a closed room murder. Only magic can do that. Until you truly understand magic, you will not be able to crush it. Jessica Chan can't corner me any further. As time passes, the Voltas will eventually realize that I haven't returned, and I'll start searching the mansion, and you will be observed. Both witches and magic disappear when they are observed. The nightmare's already over, girl. Damn it. Oh, I can't believe that Jessica's suddenly getting eliminated. Oh, please give it your all. Do it for your beloved canon. Come, Jessica, believe in the miracle. Believe in love and show us a miracle. I revised that there isn't even any need to wait for a time to pass. After all, there's an internal phone line right here. Of course, the line hasn't been cut. I'll just pick up this receiver. This is my checkmate. Construction completed. Closed room murder. My, I do believe that's valid. Permission, permission upgraded. What? Okay. Attack transmission. Direct attack power upgrade. Huh? Jessica's fist, which is pressed against the door, glow red and then white hot. Jessica's aiming between her fists. She just skipped the press against the door. However, Jessica's order extending within a closed room through the crack in the door through the keyhole burst the flames of hell. Jessica could see what's happening inside the room. However, even here on the other side of the door, she could tell that the flames of hell swelled the entire room. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Kari's swollen throats could be heard from across the door. Jessica clearly heard a Kari dance the dance of death, and Miss Hellfire fell to her knees and slumped over to the floor. Slowly, Jessica tore her burning fist away from the door. If you love the hell of envy so much, then burn. Burn in the flames of envy for all time. There are probably some things that could be learned from envy. However, it's nothing to be praised, and going through it's no one's duty. You seem you were too proud after all. And Kari. You bitch, Jessica. I hope you and Kenan fail. A splendid closed room murder. I'll leave you take care of it. I hate her for her corpse to burn. A crisp when it's finally found. Do you think you could clean it up? As you wish, my lady. We're now transformed into a go butterfly and into across the study through the keyhole, and when he had to cross his arms to think about how he should even start cleaning up Kari's unrecognizable corpse, and this room had ended up as burning hell. Just got finally out of breath as she had been holding it down in her chest. Her normal human glance finally returned to her eyes, as if she couldn't help but shudder at what she'd done, even if she had done just been a trial on the game board for the sake of her love. Is that good enough, demons? Yes, well done, Jessica. Your love is the real deal. George welcomed Jessica with a crisp applause. Beato timidly tried to join in, but Jessica yelled at her and she stopped. It's just something that happened on the game board there, so they look so sad about it. I don't give a shit. Screw you anyway. I know that logically, but still, how am I supposed to just accept it emotionally? Exactly, milady. Kanekon, I love you. I can't give up. That's why I'm showing you how I feel. I didn't do something wrong, did I? I'm not wrong, am I? Milady. It's just gonna start to stop getting held her quietly, and he realized that he would have to carry on the determination she had shown him. You didn't make any mistakes, and also it was a mistake to keep your human heart, and be sad. I just have to be a bit more of a stoic when it comes to this sort of thing. Not everyone can match up to George Sama's level, but in any event, you completed your trial, my lady. Well done. I admire the strength of your determination. I see, but George, you just got spinning and lace succeeded just the same. Very impressive, Jessica. That closed room murder that was wonderful enough to fascinate even a witch like myself. Jessica used magic to kill Kari, who had holed up inside a closed room. In that instant, Jessica had been constructed a closed room murder. It had acknowledged it by the demons and raised the level of magic. Your 2 trials have been completed. So then you will take the next challenge. Will it be Beatrice-sama? No, it might be Shannon. No, this has to be Kenan's time to shine. Come, let's speak up. Who is next? Who will take the next trial? What? Which would hesitate committing murder on the game board, even shyness can kill love. Alright, who will carry out the next murder of love? The 3 women looked at each other, and none of the others raised their hands. In the next few seconds, they would raise their own hand. All 3 thought of this at the same time, so they all raised their hands at the same time. The ones they loved had already shown their determination. They had to carry on. Well, make them fight each other to the death then. Make it easier. Oh, guys, okay, I'm gonna end the video here. It's like almost 1:30 in the morning. I want to upload this and watch some Netflix or something. Go to bed or something. I don't know. Anyways, guys, yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.